Thank you and very warm welcome at Ahmed Shackle 5858. I am Ahmed Shackle. Following news have been reported by European, Asian, African, and Australian channels. So please, let's go to the news.
Good morning, I'm Oliver Farry, and this is Daybreak. A setback for Donald Trump as a federal court in New York blocks most of his global tariffs. A three-judge panel ruled that the president overstepped his authority by declaring a national emergency to justify the sweeping tariffs, which threw markets into turmoil and alienated U.S. allies. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the Trump administration will begin to aggressively revoke visas of Chinese students, including those studying in critical fields. Thousands of students stand to be affected by the measures, among the second largest contingent of foreign students in the US. 4 people are killed as desperate Gazans storm a UN food warehouse. Thousands looted the World Food Programme facility in Deir el-Balah. The victims are believed to have died in a crush, and gunfire was also reported on site. A federal court has blocked most of Donald Trump's global tariffs, delivering a blow to one of the US president's flagship measures.
Bulletin here on GB News, the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel. This is British News, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On British News weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
Good morning. The threat of Reform UK looms large over government.
The Prime Minister is set to warn the nation that Nigel Farage's economic promises are no more than fantasy.
But with Reform gaining momentum in Labour heartlands, does this latest attack throw fuel on the fire that Farage is now the opposition? Also put our trade deal in jeopardy.
And as if Trump doesn't have enough on his plate, it's also been confirmed overnight that Elon Musk's role in the administration with immediate effect. Yesterday we spoke to Errol Musk about his son's friendship with the president.
The relationship there is exquisitely good, wonderful. I've just been there, and last month, April. No, it's very, very good. Very, very good.
Very young Charlie does so believing that one of the thieves time.
Right.
And people will not experience wrongdoing. I think it's against a tribal instinct.
GB News exclusively reveals that police are spending more than £10 million on diversity roles. That's enough to hire 350 new police officers.
Supply, we're told, but of course a lot of people are asking, is it really time now just to renationalise? And well, this morning in a game of two halves, Chelsea beat Real Betis 4-1 to win the UEFA Conference League with Cole Palmer pulling the strings. At the French Open, Emma Raducanu was given a tennis lesson by 4-time champion Iga Swiatek, but 5 Brits play in the second round today. And Luke Littler goes for his second Premier League of Darts title at a sellout vote.
A great race for many of us today, and for some it is going to be a pretty soggy Thursday, but for a few it should brighten up. Feel quite warm and humid by this afternoon. Some more warmth in places to come tomorrow. Find out what you could get with a full forecast later on.
It's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
I'm Ellie Costello, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Good morning, it's 8 o'clock on today's programme. US judges ruled President Trump Trump overstepped his authority by imposing sweeping global tariffs.
Plus, a renewed attack on Nigel Farage by the Prime Minister and a warning to voters.
It is Thursday, the 29th of May. Your headlines. A trade court blocks Donald Trump from imposing his global tariffs in a major blow to his economic policy. In Gaza, 4 people are killed after a large group of people break into a UN aid warehouse. We report on settler violence in the West Bank as Israel says 22 settlements there.
What's the problem? Palestinians live here? So Jews will live here.
So the Jews will push the Palestinians out.
We do not have to push them.
How one young woman has turned the pain of her father's suicide into a lesson on awareness for her peers.
I think being able to move past that and to understand that you're not defined by that loss and you are more than the person who took themselves away from you.
A very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us here on Breakfast. Our breaking news this morning.
It's 3 p.m. in Singapore. Loss. People push back and swiftly appeals, keeping the tariff battle uncertain for consumers and businesses. The U.S. for Chinese students in a crackdown as Secretary of State Marco Rubio announces plans to revoke visas, citing screening of applications. That is after Beijing criticized his decision to stop scheduling visa interviews for foreign students. South Koreans turning out in record numbers for early voting in snap presidential polls. The country is electing a new leader to replace Kim Jong-un after he was ousted for declaring martial law.
With Dinosaurs starts Tuesday on ABC.
The US Trade Court strikes down many of Donald Trump's tariffs, ruling the president overstepped his authority. A Melbourne woman charged over a huge haul of explosives, chemicals and detonators discovered during a raid on her home. The families of the Bondi Junction stabbing victims shared and welcome to ABC News. I'm Joe O'Brien. Tariff strategies. Stand by a US trade.
Africa News. The news. Through European countries tumbled 49% to just 7,261 in April. In the same month the previous year, Tesla sold over 14,000 vehicles, according to figures released by the European Automobile Manufacturers Association.
Tesla has been reeling from protests and boycotts against Musk's politics, but it also faces other factors like an aging model lineup and competition from rival China EV makers, cut price models, and of course we can't forget that U.S. President Donald Trump's trade war has really turned Europeans off buying American.
Of of how much the Tesla brand is suffering because of the backlash against billionaire CEO Elon Musk over his political views. It is the first time BYD has outshone Tesla in Europe.
Several hundred people gathered at Harvard University on Tuesday to protest against President Donald Trump's attacks on the prestigious institution. The demonstration comes days after his administration revocation, allowing it to enroll international students.
Trump has begun a dangerous march to roll back civil rights in this country. We've seen his vicious, racist attacks on right to amplify fascist rhetoric.
Foreign students make up roughly 27% of Harvard's total enrollment. Despite a temporary block on the order, their future at the school remains uncertain.
Freedom of speech and due process, these are the foundations of the American system. These are the foundations of a free society. But Donald Trump is attacking these freedoms because they get in the way of his authoritarian takeover. This is what authoritarians do.
The US government has already terminated nearly $3 billion in currently Harvard.
Police detectives were still at the scene of Monday's car ramming that left dozens injured. A 53-year-old man was taken into custody on suspicion of attempted murder, police say Tuesday. Survivor Jack Trotter escaped with an injured back and legs.
I was taking videos of just random Liverpool fans, so I was, just having a ball and singing away, and then I didn't know anything at all what was happening until Abby had started screaming my name, Jack, and then I sort of put my phone down and looked up, and then what happened was the car just started ramming through people. He had hit me, and then when he had hit my legs, I just basically sort of span around, so I had just about dodged the middle of the bonnet, and then he clipped my legs sort of the side of his bonnet.
So I pushed off his bonnet, and I couldn't find Jack. It was a good 5 minutes of looking for Jack. I was screaming, crying, absolutely traumatised. People were running everywhere, not knowing where anybody was, and all I heard Jack was shouting, I'm here, and we ran up and he hugs me, and next minute, obviously with the whole atmosphere, you don't know what's going on, and he just fell against the wall, and he says, my back, my leg.
Sunday afternoon turned the Jubilant Parade into a tragedy that sent 50 people to hospitals for treatment of their injuries. 11 remained hospitalized Tuesday in stable condition.
It was the first genocide of the 20th century. Wednesday, Namibia commemorates for the first time the massacres of Herero and Nama tribe members, committed by Germans from 1904 to 1908. But how did these mass killings take place? Germany colonized Namibia from 1884 onwards. Back then known as Southwest Africa, Namibia was part of Germany's colonial empire in Africa, the third largest after France and Britain. When German settlers took land and cattle from them, Herero launched a revolt in 1904. Some 100 German settlers were killed, and the German military responded with brutality after an extermination order was issued against the Herero and later the Nama people. This method took no prisoners, but instead systematically executed members of the local communities. Around 70,000 people were killed the next 4 years. According to estimations, that was 80% of the Herero and 50% of the Nama population. While Germany lost control over its colonial empire after the First World War, the events in Namibia went unrecognized and unacknowledged.
Thank you very much for giving time to Amir Shackle 5858. I am Amir Shackle. Have a good life. Bye-bye.